Okay, in this fun edition of math, we are going to look specifically at simplifying algebraic expressions. In order to simplify an expression, there's one rule we have to follow and one rule only. That rule is order of operations. You always must follow the order of operations in order to simplify. So remember, order of operations are PEMDAS. Please excuse me, dear Aunt something. So when we're talking about this, notice we have this multiplication and division are running vertical with each other, and then we have this addition subtraction running vertical with each other. So when we are talking about these two, we are talking about the idea that we are going to work left to right, and you are going to do whichever comes first. So what that means is you're going to start on the left hand side and you're going to work left to right. So when you come to multiplication division, if the division showed up first, that's the one you do first. If multiplication showed up first, that's the one that you do first. Once you have satisfied these, you move on to addition subtraction. Again, it's the same thing. If your subtraction showed up first, then you work on that one first. So it's a very easy concept that a lot of students, I don't want to say mess up, but mess up or tend to ignore. But what you just have to remember is multiplication division are partners. So you're going to do all multiply divide, left to right, whichever happened first goes first. Okay. So I just have a couple examples here to kind of walk through how some of this works so that you can see it firsthand. So here I've got this big long equation, and what I need to do is I need to simplify my expression and then write it in descending order. In other words, write it like we would a polynomial. So here the first thing that I need to do is I need to distribute this -4 in. I then have this negative sign right here that I need to distribute in. And then I have this last term. So I'm going to go ahead and do both of that. -4 times x becomes a -4x. -4 and -6 becomes a +24. I have nothing to combine in the middle, so negative goes in, so this becomes a -8x and a -2, and then minus a 3x. The last thing I need to do is I need to combine my terms. So here I've got this x term, and I've got 3 of them. So I have -4 minus 8 minus 3 is going to give me a -15x. And then I have +24 minus 2 gives me a +22. This is written in descending order. I have power of 1 and a power of 0. There's nothing else for me to do. So this is my most simplified polynomial. Okay, fairly simple. Let's look at one that's a little more involved. Notice with this next one, I have these brackets here, but then I also have the parentheses. What that means is that this part here is the first part that has to be done. So in order to do that, says I'm going to take this positive and I'm going to take this 6, so take it kind of as a whole, and I have to distribute it through these parentheses here. So my 17 is still along for the ride. I'm still subtracting. I got to open that bracket. I've done nothing with that -3x. This was a +6 times 2 gives me a +12x. +6 times -3 is a -18 plus 9 close my brackets. Now, I still have to work inside this area right here. So to do that, says the first thing I need to do is combine my terms. So I'm going to combine my x's, and then I have to combine my constants. So when I do that, I have my 17 minus, I'm still going to open a bracket here, negative 3 plus 12 gives me 9x. Negative 18 plus 9 is a negative 9, and close my bracket. Now I have to take this negative sign on the outside and distribute it through. So this is going to become, let's take it up over here, I'm going to have 17 minus my 9x, and then plus my 9. The last thing I need to do is still combine my terms, and I've got these two constants here. So overall, this becomes negative 9x plus 26. I've combined all my terms, I'm written in proper order, and so there is my simplified polynomial. So notice this one included a couple extra steps, and so you just need to be very careful and make sure that you use all of those steps as you go. Alright, the last one I wanted to do is in the form of a sentence instead. So not all of your problems are going to just simply give it to you. Some of them you're going to have to create. So here it says we are going to subtract this polynomial from the sum of these two polynomials. So from the is essentially what we like to call a turnaround phrase. And what that specifically means is it means the sum of these two is going to come first, and then the subtract this polynomial part is going to come second. So the way we write that is we have the sum of these two polynomials together. So we have to open a bracket, and then I'm going to have my first polynomial is the 4x squared plus x minus 1, close my parenthesis, and I am adding that to my second, which is 6x minus 5, and then I got to close my bracket. And then the next thing that I'm doing is I have to subtract my second polynomial, which is a negative 2x squared plus the 6x plus the 12, and close it. So now that I've rewritten my sentence in the form of math, I can go ahead and start working it. First, I've got to distribute this positive through my brackets here, which means I can drop everything. So my bracket becomes 4x squared plus an x minus 1 plus a 6x minus 5, and close it. Now the second one says I have to take this minus and I have to distribute it through this whole parentheses. So this is going to be negative minus a negative, so plus 2x squared minus a 6x minus 12. So essentially all my signs have flipped. I need to combine my terms. I don't have any other x squares here, so I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite it. So this is 4x squared. I have 1 plus 6, so this is going to give me plus a 7x. And then I have negative 1 minus 5 is a negative 6. And then I got to slap on the rest. So plus my 2x squared minus the 6x minus the 12. Again, I got to combine my terms. So notice I have 4x squared here. I then have my x terms here. And then I have my leftover constants. So here I've got 4x squared plus 2 gives me a 6x squared. I have a 7x minus 6 leaves me with just 1. And then negative 6 minus 12 is a negative 18. So there you have it. 3 different ways of seeing algebraic expressions using your PEMDAS order of operations ideas. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, don't forget, please excuse me, dear Aunt something. Do multiplication left to right, whichever comes first. Same with addition and subtraction, left to right, whichever comes first. I hope you had a wonderful time, and I will see you next time.